Palin striking back at comedian David Letterman this morning over a so-called joke he made about her teenage daughter. Mrs. Palin was in New York this week and took her 14-year-old daughter to a Yankees game. Letterman joked that the child got knocked up by Yankee slugger Alex Rodriguez during the 7th inning. He later, after criticism, tried to back off of that joke, saying he meant to refer not to Palin's 14-year-old, but to her 18-year-old daughter. Here's Sarah Palin on that this morning.
He doesn't have to apologize to me. I would like to see him apologize to young women across the country for contributing to that kind of that thread that is throughout our culture that makes it sound like it's okay to talk about young girls in that way, where it's kind of okay, accepted, and funny to talk about statutory rape. It's not cool. It's not funny.
So, does Letterman have some more explaining to do? Brent Bozell is the founder and president of the Media Research Center. Hi, Brent.
Hi, how you doing, Megan?
Well, you heard Sarah Palin say he owes an apology to young girls of this country, and she does not buy his explanation that he really meant to refer not to her 14-year-old daughter, who was actually with her at the game, but to her 18-year-old daughter, Bristol.
Yeah, I think the explanation was worse than the joke. It was a taunt. It was arrogant. It was what David Letterman has become, which is not a nice, funny guy anymore. This is the man who's got a history of taunting Sarah Palin and taunting her family. Look, I'm thinking about this. Michelle Obama's young little girl, I think she's 12 years old. So in 2 years, she's going to be primed for David Letterman's statutory rape jokes. I mean, this is the kind of comedy that this man is proud of. It's disgusting. He owes her an apology. Look, the National Organization of Women, even they have condemned him for it. So you know when they're condemning him for it, you know it's got to be bad.
Does it matter really whether he was referring to Willow, who's 14, or Bristol, who's 18, when he's suggesting that they were basically physically assaulted or sexually assaulted by A-Rod during the middle of a Yankees game? I mean, not to mention the insult to A-Rod, but does it really matter which teenage daughter he was referring to? And why isn't there more of an outrage from some in the press over that remark, as there would be if Letterman had been making a comment about, say, the Obama girls?
That's exactly the point. It really makes no difference. They're both insults. Why do the media not care? Because the media are hypocrites on this. I'm sick and tired of this national press, this press that feels so inclined to pass judgment on Rush Limbaugh on everything he does or doesn't do. Look, if Rush Limbaugh made a joke about Michelle Obama's daughters, they would be calling on him to be fired before he finished his sentence. And you and I know this. When David Letterman does this against Sarah Palin, they think it's funny. They don't even report it.
It's one thing to rip on Sarah Palin, right? She's a politician. She puts herself out there. They all take it. And it's never pleasant, but that's what late-night comedy does. But once you bring the daughters into it, and Brent, I want to ask you about the media response, because we queued up this clip from The View yesterday where you had sort of Barbara Walters and Elizabeth Hasselbeck on one side, and then you had Joy Behar on the other side saying this.
You can say anything you want about me. We all say this. Don't talk about my child. And that is something that I guess even humorists have to understand.
You don't parade your child out as a poster child for abstinence.
I don't talk about my child.
They traipse the kid out as she's a walking punchline. They preach abstinence and then she gets knocked up. That's the joke.
So she says that the child's fair game because somehow she has been paraded out and she's a joke.
No, they're both wrong. Look, Joy Behar's the joke. I'm not even going to dignify her comment. She disgusts me as a human being, and I mean that. But Barbara Walters is wrong about this as well. It's because Sarah Palin is a public figure does not give you the right to say anything you want to against her. Look, Michelle Obama is a public figure. We don't have the right to insult her. That's absolutely wrong. It's preposterous.
But they all do, Brent. I mean,
rules,
they rip on people who put themselves in the public eye voluntarily, adults at least. And the thing here is, you know, Letterman tries to come out and defend his conduct by saying, oh, I didn't mean the 14-year-old, I meant the 18-year-old. You know, if putting aside, listen, both are arguably off game, but off limits. But let me ask you, it seemed clear he meant to refer to the 14-year-old who was the one with him at the baseball game.
Of course it was. And that's why if David Letterman were a man, and he's not a man, he's a coward. If David Letterman were a man, he would stand up and he would say, we royally messed up on this one. I apologize to Sarah Palin. I apologize to Willow. I apologize to her husband, to Sarah Palin's husband, who I suspect wants to punch his lights out.
Instead, this is what he said. Well, I'll show you his sort of attempt at an apology. Here it is.
These are not jokes made about her 14-year-old daughter. I would never make jokes about raping or having sex of any description with a 14-year-old girl. Were the jokes in question in questionable taste? Of course they were. Of course. Do I regret having told them? Well, I think probably I do. Would I do anything to advocate or contribute to underage sexual abuse or misconduct? Absolutely not. Not in 1,000 years. Look at me.
Brent, final word. Why is that not enough?
That's not an apology, and this man's a coward.
All right, Brent Bozell, thanks so much for coming on. We appreciate it. We'll see whether David Letterman makes any comments about this on his show tonight. By the way, he has invited the Palins on in response to this, and Sarah Palin said basically she'd be damned if she was going to go on there and pump up his ratings after what he has said about her children.
Kids are off limits, plain and simple.
Easy.
17 minutes past the hour now. Get your bathing suit ready. Pool season's here.